Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm doing an in-depth guide and persona review of Madeye, and just general gameplay decisions and like strategies and stuff you would do during a match while you're playing Madeye. So I guess we'll just start this off with the persona I use with them. I run Insolence because this can save you a hit or two, getting a hit or two on a survivor, um, until you get overclock. And if you don't know, overclock's really important. It's really important for defending. It's really good for getting downs. It's really good for chasing people. It's just overall really good to get that earlier, get it as soon as possible, because it will save you energy and it will help slow down the game. Then I pick up this 10% attack recovery because it's just good, and he has pretty decently fast attack recovery. Obviously, tonight is for basic reasons. I'll go into that a bit more later. This, I'm not so convinced on. You could probably get rid of this for the extra 5% attack recovery, because you'll usually get a kill before the gates are open, or have someone down by then. But just maybe, not too convinced on this, but it's potentially decent. And this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. What really matters is this right here, 30% slower healing. You want this because you're going to be harassing a lot. You're going to want to cipher, throwing down walls and everything. And that helps because you're slowing down the game by pushing people off of ciphers. And if you're constantly doing damage or constantly pressuring and getting chip damage on everybody, eventually they'll heal, and it's going to take 30% slower to heal. And this also synergizes with Deteriorate and Panic. So Deteriorate is obviously the 5% action speed debuff to like healing, decoding, all that stuff. And this is really good to have on because it will help slow down the game. And same with Panic, 3%, it stacks with each survivor. If you're damaged, 3% to every action speed basically. And this can be, if you hurt everybody once, this is 70% decoding, healing, everything on top of the 30%. So they'll probably definitely want to heal the debuff off because 70% is pretty big across four survivors. And then I get the attack recovery because usually sometimes you can't defend with walls because you don't have energy or what have you, and you just got to swing an attack, and it really helps get the follow-up attack on whoever's saved or whatever, and make sure you activate Titan or whatever. So this is the build I use. Let's just get into the gameplay now. So yeah, in my opinion, he's kind of currently weak and needs some buffs. He needs some smaller buffs just to help him out in general, because he probably won't, he's pretty easy and pretty fast to counter right now, and he's not too amazing. There's not much you can do if someone hacks your console, and he has pretty low base stats, so it's kind of bad. So the first thing I do when I spawn, I note the location I spawn, and I have like most console locations memorized. So the very first thing you want to do is note where you're positioned, and note the closest console to you. There's one on this map to my right I could have used, and this is good because my body is also a threat on this cipher, so people won't decode this as most likely. They'll see my heartbeat, and they probably won't come to the cipher. And then this safe cipher that usually gets done is probably not going to get done for a while. But I leave that, I don't go to the console to the right, and I go to the one behind me. Also, it's also important if you have like headphones or you're like really working with sound to note if they have a mind's eye, listen for where the shock wave or the sound comes from, because it really gives you some game knowledge. So the first thing I do once I hop in a console, I check the pretty common spawn points and ciphers to be getting done right away, and I just check them and I be fast with it. If they're not hacking the console or if they're not on the cipher, I leave and move on. See, this is the play style you got to check. You got to constantly switch console and then harass. Really surrounded around predicting the movements, which is pretty hard to do. Um, so yeah, as you saw there, I got some damage on the forward and then moved on. So what this doctor did here, this is probably what most really good players are probably going to do. Once they see you coming, they're going to move right away. And so there's a few things you can do to this. You can try to continue to hit him, or if it's not like a target that you want, if it's not the mind's eye or whatever, you could try to block off the cipher really quickly, throw it on a wall, and then move on. But usually you want to try to get the tick of damage so they get the debuff going. So there, I decided, oh, I'm going to switch because that machine's over there is getting pretty low, and if she runs over here, this is a better console to use. See, now this is one of the problems with Madeye, is if the survivor's being sporadic, moving all around, it's going to be fairly hard to predict their movements and get the hit. So, and you got to hit them like 4 times to get it down, which is why overclock's really important, because you can really trap survivor. You can like put a wall here and then put a wall here, and they have like nowhere to go, and that's usually a guaranteed down. No idea what this thief was doing. I guess he's pretty bad player. But yeah, I don't know much. Don't have much to say about this bad thief. Now here's the thing you need to note, like cipher locations and like really unsafe spots. Like if you put a wall here, then they're trapped. There's one, the middle cipher on Arms Factory is pretty bad, pretty unsafe, and you could do something like this. You should note unsafe ciphers to completely block in people to get a free down. Because she's completely trapped, and this is in an instant down. So yeah, as you saw there, it's just like constantly juggling between the consoles and looking at where to attack and whatnot. And usually, for the most part, if you're in a pretty slow position, you probably want to use machines because it saves energy and it's usually better. So never use this unless it's like in the middle of a chase or like a part where you need to use it right away because this uses more energy. So usually use the consoles when you have time. Right here, I wasn't paying attention to my tinnitus to see if someone was coming to rescue, and I got a free rescue, which was a bad play on my part. use tinnitus to tell you when a rescue is coming. It's like a warning, so you know when you can harass ciphers for free and when you got to be defensive. So tinnitus is really good on him. You just got to pay attention. See right there, I did a tactic of trying to trap her in, but she just barely managed to escape. If she got trapped in there, would have been a free down. Now, Ford's a kind of a hard counter to him, but Fords usually have to go in a pretty dangerous position, and you can mind game and everything. So Ford's kind of a decent counter, but it's kind of dangerous too. So right here, you would have seen that I noticed someone on this cipher machine, so I want to pressure this, try to get them off, try to get a harass on, try to slow down the game. So here you can, pretty sure you heard someone up on that, hacking that console, I think, or the sound bugged out and it sounded like it. Either way, that's something to note. See, because you can hear someone placing on walls, so that's a sign for me to hop on the cipher and protect my console up here with this one, and it's usually a free hit. In this case, since I switched right away and pressured her, that resulted in a free down, which is pretty good because this was a pretty unsafe spot to pressure or to hack. Here I completely walked by her like an idiot. Don't know what that forward was doing. Tried to tackle me up close. That was pretty dumb. See, right now the forward's coming, so I got to be mindful to see if I can make this chair or not before he gets a stun. That's just basic game sense. See, now here I got two decisions. I can either hack a console and use it defensively and defend, or, which is risky if you're not fast enough and don't get on the defense right away, or I can just, take a hit, or hit, then hit again, and whatever, basic stuff. Now here you can see I'm setting up to trap her. I end up leaving this mind's eye just because it's more convenient to go for the doctor at this point. And then once I know I trapped the doctor and I had her, I automatically just go straight back to my mind's eye, try to get the down. Which unfortunately doesn't work out, and I have to leave him because I know our energy. So here's the thing to note with him. Once I used all that energy in this cipher right here, it's good to note, like if you can make a farther chair with a machine that has full energy, you should probably go for that one, like I'm going to do here. See here, I know my machine has no energy to defend, so I'm gonna go over to this chair so I have a machine so I can defend, or a machine with energy so I can defend with it. Now once I get it back on the chair, it's back to go to the nearest console I have to save energy and then start harassing again. Right now, before I did that, I checked to see if anybody was on ciphers, which is pretty important, so I can pressure anybody decoding, because there's only two ciphers remaining, so it's really important for me to make sure the game's slow. As you can see, tinnitus proc, so I know someone's coming to save, and I also saw them in the distance, so this is when I get really protective and defensive. And this forward completely just lags and desyncs through all that walls, which is really bad. But when someone's saving, if you can wall right as they're gonna save, you're in a really good position, because it's gonna stop them from saving and hurt them, and then it's gonna block them from future saves and set up for easy hits. See, he wasn't able to save because he got hit before he could save, and that's actually deteriorate and panic also, slowing him down with his rescue speed, which is why it's pretty good. As you see again, since I have no more tinnitus, I'm looking out on anybody trying to decode, so I can pressure them if they are decoding. Bam, tinnitus proc. I didn't notice it or saw the person coming into the distance. Still haven't noticed or the rescuers. Pretty bad plan on my part. There, I heard the music start, so I knew someone was trying to come save. Because you can still get a chase music starting if someone's near you, which is also pretty important to note. It'll tell you if someone's near. No, this was a misplay on my part. I should have hit the mind's eye. I just took the free hit, but I didn't. I messed up. Bam, found her again because she was still had tinnitus proc, so I knew she was over here somewhere, still chilling. So I was looking out, trying to find her, and then start harassing her before she came back for a save. Bam, I knew that since she went through this wall, I probably had to wall off this pretty soon. So I think in this situation, I walled her off completely just so she couldn't get the rescue. As you saw there, I completely blocked off the save because so nobody could save and I can get in there and get a free hit and whatnot. This doctor came back, and that was a pretty bad mistake because they both went to come save. This automatically makes Doctor unable to save because she's hit and she's one shot, which is a really good position for me because nobody's going to be able to save. Now this Doctor goes for a heal here, which is a pretty bad idea. This Doctor and Thief aren't really great players. See, now you'll see me pressure back so she goes back because she can't get the save. Now you'll see me use this during a chase or use my walls aggressively and just proactively use it to harass and attack. So you never really want to chase with them. You usually don't take chases because you get kited a long time. So the main way you want to play is harass ciphers, and then once you get overclock, continue to harass, get it down, secure the down, and then if you're going to take a chase, you got to quickly use your ability and cut them off with the walls or trap them. You never really want to take a direct chase because he does really bad um, movement stats and everything. So you always want to be using your walls no matter what. So you could see there I looked out and someone was doing this cipher, so I automatically go to it. And knowing which cipher is which and which one they're doing, it's map knowledge. You got to get used to it and everything. And it just takes practice and learning the maps and just game sense in general. And that was just me doing. Obviously, you got to be pretty good at predicting movements and everything. So that's pretty important when you play them. It's got to be predicting movements. You got to get really good at predicting. And obviously, got to continue harassing. I could secure the Che right now, but if I slow down the game and harass and leave the slug down, it's going to be a better position for me because they're not going anywhere with ciphers. And you can see me here, I'm not taking the chase, I'm using my machines and walls whenever I can to secure downs. You only want to take chases for a last ditch effort. See, now this is a misplay on my part. I could have blocked this off and then got a trap, but I did a bad wall. You want to get used to using the obstacles and everything to trap survivors, get the free down. So here, I knew Doctor used her self-revive, and I knew Thief probably used his self-revive, so I wanted to trap Mind's Eye first before anyone else because she's only with self-revive, and once I get her on a chair, I basically free win. So this is more game sense, knowing when people use self-revive and know who has it and who doesn't. So you got to keep in mind this basic stuff, just playing as Hunter in general. Yeah, these aren't like really great survivors I'm facing, so this isn't really showing how hard he is in the higher tier matches. But he's fairly weak now, but he definitely has potential. That basically covers the whole game there. Soon after they surrender or whatever. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you just gotta make sure you're not taking chases, and if you're gonna take a chase, it got to be a last ditch effort, and always use your walls to secure downs and everything, and make sure you get overclock as fast as you can, and then harass, and micromanage the map, and make sure ciphers are taking way longer to do, and constantly pressure, because this build's pretty good. This is probably the best hunter to take advantage of deteriorate and panic as good as he can. It's probably the build best suited for him. You might consider detention later on, but I think getting overclock first and sooner is way better than having one-shot potential later. So it's probably best to run Insolence, in my opinion. It's probably one of the better builds. So there's a few things you could change with the Persona build. Not too many things you could change, though. This is probably the best way you can play him, micromanaging, harassing, slowing down the game with your machines and everything. It's basically all I have for this guide right now. I'm going to continue playing him, get better, learn more, and hopefully he gets a few small buffs because he definitely needs some. So that's basically all I have. Subscribe for more videos. Leave a comment. If you have any questions or anything, I'll be definitely willing to help out in the future and everything. Let's end this video later.